Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's Dr. Show, the 5-foot doctor. Welcome to my channel. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Also hit the notification bell so that if I post anything, you'll be sure to get an alert and you'll be alerted that I posted something. Anyways, I hope you guys had a great day today. It's Tuesday. I'm back home from work. It is 5:45. And I actually got to pick the kids up today. So this is surely, truly a miracle. Anyways, hold on. I'll be right back. I need to fix something. Okay. All right. Well, till I set up a little space where I'm going to be talking, this is going to be a little studio setup. All of the lights in my bathroom is on or are on. So I'm hoping that you can have a clear visual of me. I should probably take this off. It's too much information. Anyway, so today, like we talked about in the description, we're going to be talking about pregnancy in residency. Okay, so I'll start from the beginning. My husband and I we've been married for a while, but we had our official wedding in 2014. This was in May of 2014. So I graduated, of course, in June, or finished school in June, podiatry school. But we had our wedding the Saturday before graduation. So that was pretty fun. So I got married in Chicago, one of the Chicago suburbs, flew back to Philadelphia, graduated before we went on our honeymoon. It was a crazy time. But anyways, I knew that residency, of course, was going to be 3 years. I had already matched at my residency program here in Houston. And so I knew it was going to be a rough 3 years, meaning I was going to work my butt off, and it was going to be very rigorous, very surgery heavy, and things. I knew it was a lot of driving because I'd visited. Anyways, I just knew it was going to be a rough 3 years. Now, keep in mind, I am a newly wedded woman, and kids have always been in my horizon. As a matter of fact, of course, when I was much, much younger, I thought I was going to have kids at 25, which in retrospect, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I wouldn't want to have kids at 25. Like, what? Like, I was just living my life. I was still, partying and stuff. I mean, not really. But point is, I was still having a lot of fun. I was still growing. I was still learning about myself. So kids at 25 would have been crazy. But anyways, I still knew that I did want to have kids sooner than later. Because, with the female body, you just don't know how things are going to go. I didn't know how long I was going to try before I had a kid. I didn't know if I was going to face any issues with infertility. Like, I just didn't know. And so I knew, okay, I wanted to have kids for sure. Now, I knew I didn't want to have them as soon as I got married, especially since I was going to be starting residency. I wanted to make a great impression to my attendings, my director, and my co-residents. And I was thinking way far ahead, and I was like, perhaps I am going to shoot for chief in my third year. Like, I had all these great plans, y'all. Anyway, so my first year came, and it was pretty great. Like, I worked my butt off. I worked hard. Any resident can tell you that first year, you're like a zombie. It's like intern year. If you have a 4-year podiatry residency program, of course, that's even worse, because I don't know if it's worse. I didn't really go through it, but based on what some of the other residents told me, it's pretty intense. But I worked hard. Like, I worked really, really hard. I was grinding, as you should. As a resident and as a surgical resident, you should work hard and try to be, at the top of your game. But at the same time, I was a married woman who wanted kids. Now, not every married woman wants kids. Not every woman wants kids, or every surgical resident, but I wanted kids. And so this was my plan, that my first year I was going to work so hard and create this amazing impression on all of my attendings. And in my second year, I was going to try for a baby, and fingers crossed I would actually get a baby. And in my third year, I would grind so hard again and then get a job and graduate. Sounded perfect to me. We had it all planned out. Everything was going to go kosher, you know. Well, you know, we always have this grand plans, but things don't usually always go as you want it to go. Anyway, so first year, that went well. We weren't really preventing pregnancy, but we weren't really trying either, right? So we were kind of like, I mean, I was making sure that there was no deposition made in the area, if you get my drift, you catch my drift. Anyway, I was just, you know, we're trying to, you know, do the pull out method. And I guess it worked. It worked. I mean, I guess I'll say it worked. Anyway, it worked for the first year. And so second year comes around and I'm like, all right, you know, now we're going to start trying. And so this was in November, I believe, of 2015. Was that? I don't know. Maybe it must have been 2015. I don't know. I'm not sure right now. I don't remember. Anyways, we started trying. We tried for a couple months and then nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, and remember, I have a timeline and it has to fit in my timeline because if not, it'll spew over. It's a third year and I don't want that to mess me up. So I was like, oh no. We got to get this going. Like, no. So we tried for a couple months, nothing happened. And we decided to seek professional help. So we went to a fertility doctor. Man, y'all are the bomb. Like all my fertility doctor followers and friends and doctors that I follow on Instagram, you guys perform miracles. Seriously. But anyways, so in between my busy schedule, I had to find time for numerous doctor's appointments. Turned out I had irregular periods. And so first we had to kind of regulate it and I had to be on medication. And that's going to be another video where I'm going to do, you know, a little talk about my journey and conceiving my daughter. Anyways, so through it all, with help, we got pregnant. And I remember one of my co-residents, if she's watching this video, well, she definitely knows who she is. Because of course I was keeping everything on the hush. Because, you know, you're in residency. You're supposed to be on call. You're supposed to be, if they say jump, you say how high. Like, you're not supposed to be weak or tired or vomiting or what, nausea. What's wrong with your morning sickness? Girl, if you don't get your behind to the emergency room and look for some fractures that you're going to fix or something like that, like, you're not supposed to be worried about anything else but work. That's just how it is. That's just how, you know, surgery life or residency life is. You're not supposed to be thinking about anything but work. But it's like, come on. Me especially, like I had a life outside of work. Like I love, not that I'm great at it, but I love to keep a balance of home life, social life, religious life, work life. Like I like to at least think that I'm going to keep a balance, but that was not the case. Anyways, so when I got pregnant, I didn't say anything for the longest time. I didn't talk to anyone about it because, to be honest, I was scared. I was scared that I was going to be looked at as being weak. I was scared that I was going to be, you know, ridiculed. I wasn't going to be respected. People weren't going to give me the cases, but I still like worked as hard as I could. You know, of course, I revealed it to my co-residents. I remember, I think it was at a Halloween party, I believe. Yes, it was at a Halloween party. And I revealed it to them and everyone was supportive. They were so happy. They said, congratulations, happy. They were so excited for me. So my first pregnancy actually went really, really great. Till my 32nd week, I had my baby shower on a Saturday. Great time. My friends were there, family were there. I mean, it was just an amazing time. And then this was on a Saturday and then I had my daughter on a Monday. That is almost exactly the same thing that happened with my, same day of the week. Anyway, so I was 32 weeks pregnant. I had a placental abruption. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's pretty much when your placenta peels off of your uterus. They don't have an exact cause of it. Of course, severe trauma can cause it. You know, like if you fall, if you get in a car accident, domestic violence, or, just some kind of trauma can cause it to happen. Sometimes, apparently, it happens little by little, and at some point it's just abrupt, so it just peels off, causing massive hemorrhaging or bleeding. Now, my situation, I didn't have any of that. I just woke up in the morning. I remember that Monday we had journal club and I presented. So I presented my article. I talked about it, yada, yada, yada. I was killing them, girl. I was like killing my journal club article. I think so. And I know they think so too. But anyways, so finished journal club article. I remember that day I was sitting by the table and my daughter was pushing through, kicking and pushing. I was like, man, this baby. But so that night at 4 a.m., I wake up in the morning with the most excruciating pain. I cannot describe this pain. I don't even know if it's similar to labor. I feel like it's more painful than labor because it didn't let up. So apparently with labor, well, I did have a little bit of labor with my son, but my daughter, it'd go up, the pain that is. Like it'd go pretty intensely and then kind of let up. With this, no. It would not let up. So anyways, after throwing up, feeling like I needed to, do number 2, clearly I was like, okay, something's wrong. Let's just go to the hospital. And I'd rather they tell me that there was nothing wrong and send me home because this pain, I just couldn't bear it anymore. I was doing all of the Lamar's technique or what, it was not working. Anyway, we go to the hospital and, they're like, okay, the heart rate's kind of going down. I told them again, I needed to do number 2 and they let me. It was a new nurse, so I guess I'll give her the benefit of doubt, but still, she shouldn't have let me because what if, she was really coming out and I just pushed her into the toilets. Oh, anyways, that didn't happen. So, now they take me, of course, they rush me upstairs, put all these monitors on me, and I'm looking at her heart rate and it was dropping right before my eyes, y'all. Her heart rate dropped down to 30. And I could see my belly contracting. Like I could see, it was pretty bad. Anyways, in all of 30 minutes of me getting to the hospital, they consented me. They were like, look, the baby's in distress. We have to take you to an emergency C-section. So I am signing papers as I am being rolled to the operating room. I wanted to check something. Okay, it's good. As I am being rolled to the operating room, it was so scary. I was crying. My poor husband was just outside, didn't know what the heck was going on. I was just like praying and believe you me, thinking about my life, my work, like what am I gonna do? Like at no point did I stop thinking about work, which is kind of, I don't know. I don't know if that's, I don't know what to call that. If it's some kind of champion spirit, I don't know. Like I shouldn't be thinking about work. I should not, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have surgery now. When am I gonna get back to work? Anyways, long story short, she came out. She had CPR for about 5 minutes because she was blue. I was worried that she was gonna have cerebral palsy or something, but thankfully she's the smartest little 3-year-old I know. Now, anyways, C-section. She's in the hospital for 33 days. Maybe I'll make a video if I can remember all the details now. Anyway, she's in the hospital in the NICU for 33 days. So I get sent home. Well, in 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks, I scrubbed in for a case. Now, in retrospect, if I think about that, I'm not exactly sure why I did that. To be honest, I take it back. I do know why. I was trying to prove to everyone and to myself that I could do it. That just because I went through this major surgery doesn't mean I'm a weak resident, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me now and that I couldn't pull my weight as well as other counterparts. Of course, when it did come up that I was pregnant beforehand, I remember my chief and I were talking and he was like, well, I just need to know what your plans are. How long do you plan on taking off? Because we need to cover, we need to cover for you and blah, 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 which is very fair because, when one person is out, it kind of leaves a little dent in the system or a void in the system that has to be filled out. So that was, all legit. And so now I'm thinking, well, I'll show them. I'm not going to leave a void. I just got a C-section 2 weeks ago. I can go back. And yes, I could do it. But after that first case, I remember my attending was like, oh, you're pregnant, you know, how's your baby? And I'm telling him like, oh yeah, I had her 2 weeks ago. And he was just like, what? What are you doing here? He's like, go home, go home. And I convinced him that I was fine. But after I went home, I was like, I am not fine. You know, there is always this innate feeling or pressure to, as a woman maybe, or as a female resident, to be strong, to show that you're strong. Never show weakness. You always have to be, you know, like, no. Anyways, that all went away, or, you know, passed by. I made it through. Ha! Would you know? Oh, I tried it. I got pregnant again in my third year. Remember when I talked about that little perfect little scenario of mine and perfect little plan that I had of not being pregnant again? Well, I like to say I don't know what happened, but my friends are like, you do know how people get pregnant, right? Duh, yes I do. So in my defense, and I will continue to defend this, remember I said it took a while for us to conceive my daughter. So I didn't think that it was going to be as easy to conceive again. So we're just not as careful as we were, or as we should have been. Yeah, we were quite careless, clearly. But anyways, so I turned pregnant. I didn't know till I was 6 weeks gone. And the only reason I knew was because I was nauseous. So with my daughter, I didn't really have a lot of nausea. I mean, I had a little bit, but it was manageable. I'll eat super spicy food. I'll eat a lot of ginger candy, ginger tea, everything ginger. And I was fine. I was good. Like my first pregnancy, I was great. I was moving patients. I was lifting. I was doing all kinds of stuff. Like I didn't feel like I was pregnant. With my second, so I was extremely nauseous. So I'm like, what's going on? Why am I so nauseous? Out of curiosity, not because I thought I was pregnant. Believe you me, not because I thought I was pregnant. I just like, you know what? Let me rule it out. At least I know if I'm not pregnant, or that I'm not pregnant, is definitely something else. So I go to the hospital's lab and I get one of their HCG strip thingies, and I call my residency BFF. I'm like, hey, come with me. And of course, you know, pee on the stick. And I was so scared. I wouldn't even look at it. And she looked at it, and I opened my eyes and I looked at her, and God forgive me, but my heart sunk. Like you could tell, because she knew I didn't want to be pregnant. She knew I probably shouldn't be pregnant, but there it was, 2 strips. I took it 3 times and I was still in denial. I went over till I went to see my OB. So I went to see my OB and they did a blood test, and I mean, there's no denying that now. To be honest, I was pretty devastated. I was just really sad and thinking, I just got pregnant. I just had a baby, and it was super hard with my first because she was in the NICU for 33 days. And shortly after that, I remember I was on call. I was on call while she was in the NICU, and I'm kind of getting emotional talking about it because it was really hard. You know, you have to finish rounding and all your cases and dictations and everything, and I was pumping because my daughter was in the NICU, and they said, I asked them, how do I get her out of here as soon as possible? And they said, all we need is your breast milk. Baby, I became a breast milk Nazi. I would pump every 3 hours. 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Those were my times. I would wake up in the middle of the night to pump. I had an alarm set up. I would pump like clockwork. 2 o'clock, I'll get up, pump for 30 minutes, go to sleep. 5 o'clock, I'm up again, pumping. So I had so much milk. her little section in the NICU was like stacked, and they were like, "Oh, I think we're okay now. We don't need it anymore." So I said, "All right." I started building my stash at home, waiting for her to come home. So it was really tough because you're trying to be there for your baby, but you're still trying to be a good resident and impress everyone. It was mentally, physically exhausting. It's one of the hardest things I have really ever had to do. And on top of that, an attending said to me, you're just going to have to choose. You're not going to be a good resident and a good mother. You have to choose. It's going to be hard, but you have to choose. Now, I would like to think that attending meant that in the best way possible, because they are also a parent. And they mean well and probably just didn't want me to beat myself up. But in that mindset that I was, it broke me down further. It just made me feel like, well, I'm striving to be a great resident and to be a great mom. Heck, I can't even be a mom. My daughter's in the hospital. It was a really, really tough time. And if anyone out there is going through this, if you have a baby that's preemie, my baby was 3 pounds and 9 ounces or 11 ounces. I'm not sure. She was super, super tiny. Maybe I'll add a video clip of her. She was on the vent for 24 hours, and then she had the little CPAP machine for another 24, and then she had a nasal cannula for, a couple of days, and of course had the feeding tube for a long while. And my co-resident, with my first, they were great because I gave birth in one of the hospitals where we actually do, work. So they would stop by and see me. They were really sweet. But anyways, with the second one, I remember when I told my director, he probably looked at me like, "What in the jackrabbit is wrong with you?" He was like, "Okay." Trying so hard not to show his disappointment. Because you have to remember, this was my 3rd year. I was gunning for chief. Well, I took that dream and I threw it in the trash. Because I have truly believed, as a resident and a mom already of a little baby, my daughter was 6 months old when I conceived my son. There was no way. I wouldn't do it. What? I didn't even think of, that was not my priority anymore. Being chief, and I was like, no, I just had to focus now and have a healthy baby, because I'd be damned if I had another baby that was going to be in the NICU. I just couldn't handle it. Anyways, I had some comments, I had till today. Whenever I go to that hospital, there is one attending that would, each time you'd see me, "Oh, are you pregnant again?" That's rude, buddy. That's very rude. I mean, I couldn't say anything. I was the resident, he was the attending, but I'd just be like, "No, I'm not pregnant again." I mean, a couple people will make some comments like that, and that was just, it's disrespectful. Just shush it. Shut your mouth. Other things that people would say, or someone said to me, "Oh my gosh, you're pregnant? Why didn't you abort it?" Now, disclaimer, everyone has a right to do what they want to do with their body. I truly believe, I have my beliefs, I am a Christian, but I do believe that everyone has a right to make a choice. God gave us that choice. God gave us the opportunity to make that choice. And that's why he wouldn't even force you, even when you're sinning and you're like, "Come to me, come to me." You have to do, you have to make that choice. And so if anyone wants to have an abortion, if that's what you are convicted to do, look, if you are comfortable in your decision, it's all you. I have nothing to do with it. I don't think it's okay to force people to make a decision, because even Jesus doesn't force us to make decisions. So I'm not going to do that. But I was not going to abort my child. And so when someone's like, "Well, why don't you have an abortion?" I feel like if they perhaps had said, "Hey, what was your thought process? Like, what were you, like, you know, how did you feel? Like, just kind of feel me out instead of just blurting it out. And again, I try to give people the benefit of doubt. And so I think maybe she was coming from a good place, a place of concern, a place of care. I had all kinds of questions thrown at me. Oh my gosh, how are you going to do it? Legit question. Oh my gosh, you're going to have 2 kids in residency? Legit question. Oh my gosh, we've never had anyone pregnant in this residency at all. Talk more being pregnant twice. I mean, fair claim, fair statements. The thing is that I realize is people are going to make their judgments. And if you are not strong, it's going to tear you down. Anyways, I had a healthy pregnancy and I was huge. I'll see if I find a picture and put it. I was humongous. And so it was even much harder. I was so nauseated. I had to take medicine. Thankfully, I didn't have to go to a fertility doctor or have appointments ever so often. But I still had to drive about 20 minutes because my previous OB was unavailable this time. So I had to get another OB, which is much farther. It was an interesting time. But I think one of the things that kind of also kind of hit me was it was harder for people to take me as a serious candidate for jobs, in my opinion, because I'm coming here wobbling like a whale. Wobbling like a whale, telling them, hey, hire me. And of course, they want to hire you, and so you can start to work and produce and make money stat. Anybody trying to have you to sit here and be a liability? A family member told me that. He's like, well, if I had a business, I probably wouldn't hire a pregnant woman. Bruh. Really? But you know what? I had to face the truth. That was the truth. Because I have friends who were pregnant during interviews for residency who did not reveal their pregnancy because of the fear of being stigmatized. I had friends who will tie that belly for as long as possible before revealing that they were pregnant. There is a stigma, which I don't know how we're going to figure that out. I mean, I don't know if there's a solution to it, but just because you're a mom doesn't mean that you can't be a great student, doesn't mean you can't be a great resident, doesn't mean you cannot be a great doctor, lawyer, dishwasher, whatever. Pregnancy is not a disease, people. I need everyone to get that. Because a woman has the ability to be pregnant doesn't mean that they're not going to work just as hard. Matter of fact, we work, if not twice as hard, because we have a point to prove, right? I mean, there are people who are pregnant. There was an article that came out. Women are on average being paid $11,000 less and are, if you're pregnant, being hired the chance of promotion is reduced by 37% or something like that. It's in the New York Times. Because they're pregnant, because of pregnancy. So I get it. There is a risk, I suppose, if you hire a pregnant woman, she may have her baby and decide she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and now you spend all this time teaching her and training her, and so you've lost your assets. At least that's what I've heard, so that's why I'm saying that. But we've got to find a way to break that stigma. I made it through. I didn't get a job right out of residency. I had my son 2 days. My graduation dinner was on a Saturday or a Friday. I think it was on a Saturday, and I had my son on a Monday. That's why I said it was the exact same days of the week as my daughter. And that was it. And thankfully, it was the end of residency. But as soon as I had him, after I came home, I still had to go fill out some paperwork and all of this other stuff. And so I had, in retrospect, it was a blessing in disguise because I didn't get to spend as much time with my daughter because for the first 33 days of her life, she was in the hospital for the first 24 hours. I never saw her. With my son, as soon as he was born, I got to hold him that very day. I got to breastfeed him. I got to bond with him. I didn't find out his gender until he was born. So that moment, this moment that I didn't have with my daughter, I had it with him now. And I got to be at home with him. I got to spend the 6 weeks or 8 weeks at home with him. Of course, after a while, I was ready to go to work and do something and leave the house, but I got that time with him. And so, I got a job, part-time gig with another doctor. I was just kind of working locums here and there, and slowly got busier and built and built and built. And now I have my own practice. This is something I would have never thought to do if I got a job right out of residency, because I just never thought I was a business person or a business owner or had the business owner mentality. But through circumstances that has brought me to this point, my husband and I decided to open the practice, and we're still running it now. So all in all, my final words are these. There's no perfect time to have a baby. You want to wait till, if you're a college student, I want to wait till med school and maybe better. Think again. It's just going to be as crazy. Maybe in college, but then you miss out on your 20s and you miss out on the fun times and when you're supposed to grow and know yourself and learn about yourself. Okay, I'm going to wait till after med school, maybe residency. Think again. It's just going to be as hard. Okay, maybe after I'm done with residency, when I'm working and maybe I have a practice, it may be easier. You have paid time off. You don't have to worry about, working all the time. So it may be easier, but I'm sure there's something that's going to come up that you're going to be like, maybe I'm not ready. So in that sense, there's never going to be a perfect time. Sometimes it's just going to be much more convenient than other times. So you have to decide what works for you, and you're going to have to make it work. Because whenever you decide is the best time. And that's what I found out. In retrospect now, my kids are 15 months apart. I would have never thought to do that. But now, I actually wish that I just kind of had a third one 15 months later. Because now I could just raise them all together and be done with it. So, I'm at the point when I was going through that storm, going through the fire, it felt like hell. Heavy and pregnant and being a resident and running up and down looking for jobs and crying because I didn't get employed. I would sit in my car and just cry. Why doesn't God like me? I'm a very good resident. I'm very smart. I know my stuff. I'm good surgically. What's going on? Girl, I went through it all. I went through all of the emotions, especially hormonal pregnant women with a toddler, with no job. And all my friends were like, oh, I had this interview. Oh, I had that interview. Oh, I have these choices. We're negotiating contracts now. Maybe I was a little bitter or jealous. I don't know. But I was going through it. But anyways, whatever you decide, just have a plan and a backup plan. Also, I had support. I had my grandma move in with me, and she took care of my daughter. If she was not here, I would not be able to do it. So I think the fact that I was able to do it was because I had great support. My husband and my grandma were Mr. and Mrs. Mom. Like, they were there all the time. All I just needed to be was the cow. I would just pump and pump and pump and give it to them. And I was able to study and, research and do all the things that I needed to do as a resident because I had help. So if you decide to do it at a busy point in your life, plan to have a support system. Plan to have solid support systems that you can trust. So that if you have to get up at midnight and leave the house because you're on call, someone's going to be there watching your daughter or your son and is going to have your best interest at heart and is going to be able to take care of you if you're gone for days. So anyways, thank you for sticking with me. Again, if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button at the bottom, hit the notification bell, and share this with your friends and family. You never know who may be fiddling with that decision of if and when to have a baby. The ultimate decision is yours, but it's not going to be easy. There's never an easy time to do it, but you can do it. You've gotten this far. Don't worry. It's like a diamond. It goes through the fire, and it feels like the worst time in your life, but you come out sparkling, baby. All right, you can do it. Any questions or comments, leave them below, please. All right, take care. Bye-bye.